Welcome back to the OC Housing Talk. We have Tim Lorenz and myself, Mike Van Ruth. How you doing, Tim?
I'm still great after all these years.
Tell me about it. Well, we had a great podcast last week, and we were talking about aspect of it was negotiation. And this morning, during our morning meeting, we're discussing even in greater detail in regards to someone selling their home. How can they make sure they get the top dollar for it, especially with all of the market moving so quick? People are just taking an offer. Hey, good, let's close this deal.
Absolutely.
And you say, hey, let's pump the brakes on that real quick. Let's talk. So can you elaborate more on that?
Well, we're in a market, probably the best for increased value that I've ever been in, and I've been around a long time. The issue becomes for the seller, generally the seller is saying, how do I get top dollar for my home? And they have no reference points. Not really. They can look in Zillow, they can look in realtor.com and get a zestimate or an idea of value. You can look at other places where they give idea of value. But if you look at 4 or 5 of them, they're all different. But they've got some idea. So if it beats all of those, they think they got a good deal. But unfortunately, in a market that is a rocket ship, where values are going up so rapidly, I mean, this excites me, guys. Seriously, this is exciting. They think they got a good deal when they didn't.
Well, they don't have a reference point to go by. And we were talking about this earlier. I walked in on your mentees meeting, your mentees, and talking about how real estate is local and how, these people like Zillow does their Zestimate, not really knowing the neighborhood and understanding it, and they undervalue a particular property.
Or overvalue. They could be either way. The problem is they're using an algorithm. Mm-hmm. Nobody's been to the house. They don't know if it has special things that cause it to be worth more. They don't know that the next door neighbor is a tract of homes behind a gate that's a luxury area, and you just happen to back up to it. So they're confusing numbers that an agent wouldn't. Now, for some, they may say, that's great, that my home's going to get a better value. Not when people come out to look. It has an absolute value in most markets. The one we're in is one that is hard to price. When I say hard to price, it's because the market is moving so quickly. Where are you on that scale?
So by the time you've priced it, the next day it could have shot past that already.
Absolutely, and you have to have a way to handle that. Now, let me tell you, I think a brand new agent who has not even been trained, who happened to take a listing, can sell your home quickly because the market's so fast. And the problem is, for most people, they're like, well, then I could get almost anybody. Or I could even put it up and sell it myself in a market like this. And as long as I beat those numbers, I did good. I'm just so ecstatic I can't handle it. And my question to you is, how much did it cost you?
Huh? What do you mean by that, Tim?
Well, I actually thought about this a lot, and what individuals don't understand is it can cost them $10,000, depending on the price of the home, $10,000, $30,000, $50,000, hundreds of thousands, in our area, hundreds of thousands, by getting the wrong person. And even if you have somebody who has been in the market for a long time, but they don't like multiple offers, you're not going to do well. So you've really got to be cautious. This market, to get top dollar. Now, if you just want to sell it, you want to feel good.
You can do that.
You can do that, and it's pretty simple. But if you want to get top dollar in your pocket that is available to you because buyers are willing to pay it, most agents, and I would say by 90% or more, are not really equipped to function that way. They think they're functioning that way. I'm not trying to put down or saying they're defrauding anybody or they're not trying to do their job. They're just not skilled enough to do it, both in the negotiations, which we had talked about before. But more than that, they just don't understand it, haven't done it enough, are worried about what they can or cannot do. If there are multiple offers, how do I handle that? What can I say? What can I say? They are so removed from the law in a section they're not used to operating in. They're lost. They're at a loss. They're not sure how to handle it. And when you get to that place, you're not doing the best you can for your client, the seller.
Well, exactly. And many a times in the negotiation process, we talked about this before too, if you're thinking, hey, the quicker we close this property, the quicker I'm going to get a paycheck. My client seems to be really happy with the offer they got laid in front of them. And they don't consult their client further to say, hey, you know what? We have these multiple offers. We have an opportunity to leverage these and get you top dollar. We may be another week in negotiations, but there might be some agents that are like, hey, good enough is good enough.
And we don't feel that way. We really do want to get your top dollar. We do it consistently. In fact, it's exciting for me. It's more than exciting for me. It's what I really enjoy about the business is exceeding.
This is the part you're hoping to get to.
Yes.
Because this is like, oh, this is my meat and potatoes right here.
It's definitely my meat and potatoes.
Yeah,
it's a place I want to be.
I don't like casinos. This is my fun right here.
This is my fun. And it's so much fun for me to drive it well past. Now, if I were sitting out there and I didn't know anything about real estate and I'm going, there's a top to what can be done. There's appraisers involved. There's all kinds of things that could harm me if I take just the highest offer. Now, we're never going to tell you that you just take the highest offer. It has to be the highest and best offer for you, the seller. You drive the ship. We don't forget that. If you say to us, I'm done, that's good enough, we're done.
Well, how would you define that? Best price and best for you. What does that look like?
Well, it's individualized. It really is up to the individual. For instance, let's say they have to be in Saskatchewan 3 days from now. Then speed is important. We would be looking for cash offers. Why? Because you can close those in a very short period of time, if that's their goal. If they're saying, yeah, but we've got to buy another house in another area, we're moving so far away, the moving cost alone is very difficult for us, then we're looking for highest dollar value. But either one of those, we want to make sure the terms make sense also.
Or they may have to stay in the property longer because they're looking for a replacement property.
Right. All of that is negotiable. The power right now, this is what they mean when they say it's a seller's market. Where is the power? How do you get power? How do you lose power? Who has the power? If there are many, many people coming to a house to buy it, seller can control what can be done, what time it can be done in. And the buyers will not push against that because they can't find a house. We were talking numbers today, and I found them very interesting. I found them exciting. A lot of agents found them as something they wanted to cry about. And I mean that, sob, because there's so few houses. Available today in Orange County, there's 2,277 homes on the market for approximately 4 million people who live here.
And to put that in context so that everyone has a frame of reference, today's date is March 9th, 2021.
Yes. So where am I going with this? There are way too few properties. It's way down from last year. available properties that you could buy if you went out to look. Because there are so few available properties, it makes it difficult to find a property you like. And then when you like it, so did everybody else. So there's many, many, many offers. And the buy side is a whole different thing. But right now, top dollar for the home, for the seller, it's how far can you push it? And you can push it a long way because you have the power. You have a product everybody wants, and it's open. It's negotiable.
And you're in the driver's seat.
You're in the driver's seat, and that's what we do. We're very good at driving it. In a bad market, we get 107%. Well, I shouldn't say bad market. In a normal market,
yeah,
we get about 107% of our ask price. In this market, we don't know what we're going to get because it depends on how attractive the house is. It depends on where it's at. But we are definitely going to, on average, exceed a normal market because you have this pent-up energy behind it. Of
that
people.
list price means nothing.
No, it really doesn't. And that's amazing in and of itself. But we do this day in and day out. Other agents who don't do this find it foreign. They want to negotiate from the value of the house that they put on it. Could be accurate or inaccurate, and they think that's real, which I find to be staggeringly uninformed. The best of us who are good at pricing know that that number isn't real. It's whatever a buyer is willing to pay for it.
Exactly.
That's the real. So if you put it out there and it's too high, I think they said I think it's everything, but it's not. It's 40+%. Right now we're getting multiple offers. Why isn't everybody? Because when you put it too high, nobody offers. And then you've got to bring it down. You got to bring it down. You got to bring it down. You keep bringing it down until you're in area.
And then that property creates a reputation that, there must be something wrong with it because they can see the price reductions happening on a continuous basis.
Right.
So then they think to themselves, if we just wait it out, it'll drop again.
That's right. So you don't want to overprice the property because you're missing out on the volume of people who are willing to come out and drive it higher.
Well, the whole pricing is a strategy. We're pricing the house not based on the value of the home. We're basing it on how we can stimulate the buyer side.
Yes, to come out and try to get a bidding war on the property itself. That's what then can determine the value. And we do know value like an appraiser would know value. But we exceed that in a normal market. So if we can exceed it in a normal market, we just blow past it.
Yeah, it's going to be off the hook now.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun for the sellers when it happens, and they're just it's like watching an auction, and you're the one that has the goods in there to be sold, and you're like, wow, we were hoping we'd get this. We're just blowing by that.
Yeah, we totally underestimated that.
Exactly, and that's kind of the market we're in. Now, what happens is if somebody knows that in their counter offer, let's say you have 20 offers, that's a lot of reading. Yeah. And agents complain about, oh my God, I hate this. I hate multiple offers. I'm like, what are you? I'm sorry. I'm trying to find a word. Are you, I don't know why you're upset about that. Because that's what makes money for your client, multiple offers.
And you can already read through them and see which ones are going to get kicked to the side.
Well,
so if you read your offers correctly, you can filter through them quickly.
You can filter through them quickly, and I don't want you to think that when he says put it to the side, we don't call everybody and say, I'm sorry, yours didn't make it. We would call and say, yours was 20 out of 20. You were the last offer. You were the lowest one. And we're just not going to counter you because it's just too low. Mm-hmm. That's what we mean. But if they said, well, if I can go back to my client and write another offer, would you take it? Of course.
Yeah, we're not going to keep anybody from...
We're trying to get you the highest value. Therefore, if somebody's agent couldn't see to write it high enough, could have a problem.
Yeah, we're not here to tell people how to spend their money.
And we have to have, because if you go past appraisal, how do you then bring it in? How do you know that you're not just going to have another bite at the apple at the appraisal? Because if I'm representing buyers and the appraisal doesn't come in and we didn't counter out the appraisal, we can go back and renegotiate the deal on the new appraised value, lower than what we offered. I'm just saying we cover that. Don't even worry about that. Nobody's going to be in the competition unless they realize that there's not going to be a contingency for the appraisal, but we do some other things to protect the seller, that if the seller accepts an offer, if I use we, I mean seller and the agents.
Yeah, of course.
But if the seller accepts the offer, it's done. If the seller doesn't want to accept it, we can keep pushing. And we're going to make sure that the seller is protected. And there's ways to do that. We do it all the time. We want to be able to do it. We're excited to be able to do it. And we're excited that our record stays where it's at.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I remember when I first started, how you had me write up a listing, and then the jargon you would have me put in there. I'm like, that's interesting. But as I went along, I realized, oh, that's why he words things the way he does. You don't really realize that until you get to the negotiation process.
Right.
Because if you didn't have that verbiage in there, you would have been boxed in.
Right. We don't want to try and deal with an offer at one time. We want multiples. So we let the agents know that's what we're doing right off the bat. Now, some agents will call us and say, I have a cash offer. Now, by the way, our sellers know what we're doing all the way along. We'll let them know this came in.
They know the strategy, and they're okay with it.
And we also let them know if an offer came in. So somebody came in with a cash offer, we go in, we say it's a cash offer. They want to pay slightly less than what we have it on the market for, but they said the offer is only good until this afternoon. If you don't accept this afternoon, this offer's off the table. They're doing that as a strategy to try and break the back of the the seller. The problem with that is, I'd say 10 to 15% of the time, they don't have a cash buyer. They go, oh, they could have bought for cash. We showed you they could buy it for cash. They decided they'd get a loan. So you came out of the strategy, took less than what it was offered for, when we know it could get more than what it was offered for. Most of our clients don't do it, but they always have the right to do it if they want.
It's their home, their property.
Exactly. But
we can consult them otherwise, but ultimately the decision is theirs.
Right. And it's exciting when you go back to that person and go, yep, no, they said no. Thank you for the offer. And they'll say, well, you don't want us to write it up? Oh, yeah, we want you to write it up. But we're looking at offers on this date in the future, along with all the others. And they'll go, oh, I'll go back to my client and see if we can't do something else. It happens all the time. I've only had one time in my life that somebody said, this is a last and final offer on their first offer. We're not going to accept a counter. Only once in thousands of deals that I've done that actually happened. One time where they just walked away. Did we sell it? Yes. Did we sell it for more than that cash offer in that time? Yes.
But again,
only one
like I've said before, each property, each listing brings its own interesting stories.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
But the buyers and the agents that you deal with, and the psychology of the seller, you get to see human behavior on full display.
Absolutely. I wrote a blog. It'll be coming out in the next couple of days. I'm still working on it. Shouldn't say I've written it. I've pretty much written it. One of the things it said was, how do I get the highest and best offer on my home, or something to that effect? How do I get top dollar on my home? One of those two. And I start with by picking the best agent, because that will get you more than all the other stuff people tell you make a difference. Before staging, before a clean property, before an unmessy property. If you pick the wrong agent, you can't get highest and best. New agents are, it would be very difficult for them to get the highest offer. Why? Because they just don't have the background. If they're on a team or there's somebody else, perhaps. But even high volume teams, some are just interested in churning and moving. So as soon as they get an offer, they'll try and convince you to take the offer. They're not interested in playing the multiple offer. Today, you get multiple offers on most things. So I'm not saying teams can't get you that or won't get you that. It's just not their way of going at the business. Ours is always getting the highest price for our sellers.
Well, honestly, when I think about it, that whole negotiating the offers scenario takes a lot of time and energy.
Yes.
Because depending on how many offers you have on your table, you're doing a lot of juggling, keeping things straight, knowing what this person, and being able to be in the minds of each and every person in that party. It can be daunting.
It is for an awful lot, yes.
They may just go, whoa, let's just take the best one.
Yeah. And by the way, that is what an awful lot of agents do. We always counter. If we got 20 offers, we're going to be countering. We're going to be asking for more from all of them. Well, if you ask for more, how much more? Well, that we cover, but I don't want to give away all our secrets.
Yeah, let's just go. I was about to stop you. Hey, Tim, don't show all our cards. Come on. There's some intellectual property here. Come on.
There is and there isn't. Even if they knew our entire strategy, unfortunately, they don't know how to push once, twice, or even 3 times, which I've done. In other words, counteroffer, counteroffer, counteroffer. There's nothing that says you can't keep going if they are willing to go.
Well, I think a lot of agents are fearful of losing an offer or losing in this. So that's like they're very fearful that, if I push too hard, I might blow this deal up.
Yeah, but you got 20 offers sitting there. It's hard to blow it up.
Well, we both know fear is irrational.
It is irrational, and you don't want to have it with your agent. So you've got a lot of offers. A lot of them will say, well, you're well over what it would appraise for. Let's just take it. I'm not doing that. I'm still going to go see how much more is out there. And I may, if now we have 2 offers competing, they're both way over. They both know that they have to have no appraisal contingency, and we go ahead and we still get more. But the one thing that homeowners worry about is, what if they actually fall out? I've had them. At every transaction, there'll be some that fall out. And it isn't over the price, but something happened. They don't like the association. They don't like this. They saw this. I have never had to go back on the market. I'm trying to make sure that that's true. It's very rare that I've had to go back on the market. I don't believe I ever have had to. If I have multiple offers, I go back to the ones that had submitted offers before, and they will. I say, the one fell out, you were in the running before, I'm going to send you a counter that looked just like the one I sent before. If you'd like to respond to it, please do, and we've really sold the day after it fell out. Generally, for more money than the one that fell out. That's got to be a story that we sit down in your kitchen and talk to you about. That's fun.
I was almost about to pull the reins back on you, Tim.
Yes.
Too much. You're giving away too much.
I know. I know.
But once Tim gets talking,
Can't stop me. No, I don't want you to think that what we're doing is so unusual nobody else has done it, because I learned it from somebody. It happened to be in San Francisco, and a lot of people do it up there, and you could have other people that came down here. But the ability to actually do this and make it work to the highest level is really a skill set.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I'm just glad I get to learn it from you.
Thank you. Glad to teach it. Somebody has to carry on.
Well, exactly. Like I'm some spring chicken. I'm going to be around much longer. But anything more to add in regards to that process? Is there anything else you can think of?
To get top dollar, I did mention a couple of other things. I want to stay out of picking the agent, now go to the other things. You definitely, staging is okay to do because people can see the house. You may get more offers than 20. You might get 25 or 30. But staging in this kind of market is not necessary.
Yeah, matter of fact, last listing, I was getting hammered left and right by stagers calling me, want to do staging. I'm like, there really isn't a need for it in this market.
I agree. Like I said, I don't want to put down stagers, and I'm not putting down the houses that look like that, but there is so little inventory. It just doesn't. You don't need to pay the money for a stager at this time.
No.
It can change if it's a tight market. But it does make a difference. Odors make a difference within the house. Pet odors, smoke odors.
Cigar is a big one.
Yeah, cigar is a big one, but so is certain types of food can leave odors. So you want to make sure that before showings that you have the odors cleared out as completely
and
as
as
possible.
a seller, you may not smell it.
Yeah, that's true.
And as a young man, I was raised on a horse property, and I had friends come over and go, "Man, it really smells like horses." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." And it wasn't until I left to go in the military, and I came back to come home to visit, and I'm like, "Oh, that's what they were talking about."
Yes.
When you live in it, doesn't even catch
Exactly.
you.
No, you get used to it. In fact, part of my degrees are in psychology. I also have, besides doing the clinical side, I did physiological psych. That's why what I'm about to tell you is...
So sensory
Welcome to-
overload?
It is. We are geared to change. Our sensory system is geared to change. If there's a bang on the table here, I'm going to orient to it because it changed what was going on. If you've ever had a Christmas tree in your house and you first put it up and you go, "Wow, that smells great. I love that." And a day later, you're like, "What happened to the smell of the tree?" Mm-hmm. Because we're wired to find change, because it is a defensive mechanism. If something's out of the ordinary, we need to orient to it, including smell. That when it's been around a long time, our system shuts down to it. So you're right. Odors, we get used to, we don't smell them until we've been away a while and we come back. But anyway, odors are a turnoff to people.
Especially the ladies, especially cigar
Yeah.
They have a very intense sense of smell. I had that one lady walk into that property. She walked in the doorway, stopped, turned around, and walked right back out.
Yeah, we had a recent cigar issue, and we got it cleaned
Resolved,
up.
yes.
Got it resolved. So we even have answers for that. But one of the other thing is clutter. I'll use my son in his teen years. I hope he's not watching. He may get upset. But anyway, in his teen years, his room made no sense. I mean, his covers were not tucked in. They were all over the bed. I don't even know. I slept in it. He had a surfboard in there. He had his clothes in there, his wetsuit thrown in a corner. The clothes he wore last night were on the floor. I mean, it was cluttered. It was hard to look in the room and make sense out of what was there. That is something you can't have. You have to have things so people can just look at it and not get confused by the other things.
It's difficult for them to visualize themselves living in it.
And they can't focus because it's so I mean, if you had things hanging off the mirror on the dresser, it's like
Distraction after distraction.
just one after another. So you don't want that. So neat is important, probably more so than, not more than odor, but right there next. Neatness counts when you're selling. I didn't say you had to stage, but neat is needed. So if you have things, for instance, in the bathroom, you may have things you leave on the counter all the time. You take off, you do whatever you do when you get up, you shower, you comb your hair, you do whatever. And you have things that you leave out all the time. We suggest you get a basket or some container. You put them all in it rather than just leaving them randomly on the counter. People accept that. If you have a lot of things in your workout area, you may want to put some of them in the closet and bring them out when you work out. Closets you can have as cluttered as you want. Garages you can have as cluttered as you want, and people don't mind. But in the living space, in order to see themselves there, you need it to be neat and clean and uncluttered. If you have all those things and the right agent, we don't know where the top is.
It's undefined at this moment.
At this moment. Just to give you some numbers for today, he gave you the date. We have, in the last month, gained in value 7.5% across the board in Orange County. That is huge. If you kept that all the way through the year, every month, not saying you will, that would be 80% or better of the price of your house now. I actually think we're going to do better than that. That's why, in this rocket ship that we're on right now, if you were thinking about selling, now is the time to do it so you can get a property which is going to be inflated. And it's going to inflate throughout the year. So you're going to ride the equity train through the year. And at the end of 1 year, the sooner you do it, the more growth you get, because next year is not likely to be as high as this year. If it had a little bit of retreat, which markets do, they go up and then they retreat a bit. I don't see it for this year. So get in, get the next property, ride the equity train, and have equity at the end of that year. That's the way to do it.
That's the plan? That is the Tim Lorenz plan?
That's it. If you're a buyer, get it now. Don't wait. At this kind of increase, you may not be able to buy a property by the end of the year if you think it's going down. And if you were ever thinking about investing, you make more money than a flipper in 1 year, if I'm right, just buying any property you can get in on. You pay 3%, 3.5% if you can get an FHA. You ride it to when it stops and you sell. You get all the profit. So let's use just a unbelievable number. Let's say it was 500,000 and it grew 100%. 500,000. You paid 3.5%. You got 500,000 and your 3.5% back in a year. I don't know many investments you could do.
And you didn't have to fix the place up.
That's right. Now I didn't say you were going to double, but it's going to be up there. It definitely would be better than what flippers were trying to do when they were all over the market. So this is a good time to invest also.
That's good advice.
So if you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing, and you don't quite understand what I was saying, you have questions for us, call us, 949-874-2247. That's my number. Give me a call, and I'll walk you through it. By the way, there's never any pressure from us. It's just simply, I will talk to you and answer your questions. Be more than happy to do it.
And that phone number, and his name and phone number will be down in the description of the video. At the end of this video, there'll also be his phone number on there. Also, you're talking about your blog. You want to go to the Elite Home Sales Team OC.com website, and that's where that blog will be located, correct?
Right. We're going to see about putting it in some other locations. I haven't been blogging for a while, so we'll see. But yes, It should be on our website.
All right, terrific. Also, if you like these videos, go ahead and give us a like. Please subscribe to our channel. And I guess...
If you have any questions that you can send in, we will also ask the question and answer it on the next week's.
Are you trying to put me under pressure now?
Yeah.
Next week's? See, he always...
Yeah, we're just trying to get this up and moving.
Put in the
seriously.
comments if you have a topic or any kind of question you want to elaborate on. Put it in there, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. Man, Tim put me under pressure again.
There you have it.
All right, well, terrific. I'm glad you joined us for this podcast, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you very much.